Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Presentation Hell. We're podcasting here from Embark Studios in Tampa, Florida. Today, I have the special guest, Lauren Prager, who's CEO of Synapse. And Synapse is really a community organization that brings together something special. Lauren, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here with you.
All right. So tell everybody, what is Synapse? What is it?
Synapse is a connector.
The camera's up there, don't forget.
Synapse is a connector. Synapse connects and catalyzes Florida's innovators. We make it possible for people from different industries, technologies, and communities to find what they need and share what they have. And we primarily do this through meaningful and impactful events and through content that we create and share that really highlights the talent, thought leadership, and innovation that's driving the growth of Florida's innovation communities. Think what's happening beyond the clickbait. Right? We see a lot of headlines about growth in tech and innovation in Florida, and Synapse is the place where you can discover the talent that's driving a lot of those headlines.
So Synapse is you're bringing together events that allow the technology community and a variety of other people, because everyone's in the technology community. I don't care what business you're in. And you bring them together. How is this? I understand there's an event at the Amalie Arena once a year that's pretty good. I have attended it a couple of times.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's better than pretty good. So yeah. So it's also, I really want to focus on not just tech but innovators. So when you think about tech, most people kind of go to hard tech and software, but innovation is actually much bigger. And I think what you all do with presentations is a great example of that. It's tech enabled, but it's really a different way of thinking about how we interact with our world, whether it's through the way that we work, the way that we play, the way that we live, and creative thinking, not just ideation, but execution. And that's the key for successful innovation. And that exists in hard tech, but it also exists in the arts, in culture, in the culinary creativity. And when we bring all of those facets together, we actually accelerate innovation because of that ability to inspire beyond the usual things that we look at every day, our usual tunnel vision focus on our business and our day-to-day life. Expanding that vision, opening the aperture, allows us all to find creativity and inspiration in other ways. And that's really the secret sauce of Synapse, by allowing people from those different industries and backgrounds and perspectives to come together under the common thread of innovation. And we've seen a lot of magic come from that since we've launched back in 2017. And considering that we are a nonprofit organization, our impact is really because we are, by and for and with the innovation community.
So making the connection. So I'm just to distill some of the key things that I kind of got out of there. You're making connections under a base ideal of innovation.
That's right.
These connections through innovation create businesses, create opportunities, create the future, and make a more stable community in it.
Exactly right.
And this is done through physical events that happen annually. Some in Tampa Bay, some in Orlando. I understand there's one in Miami as well.
So the way that Synapse operates is through community and collaboration. So we're headquartered here in Tampa Bay, and we're really proud that we showcase...
Headquartered here at Embark Studios.
That's right. Our headquarters in here at Embark Studios. Thank you to the team. And the Synapse Summit is hosted here in Tampa Bay, and it's really a spectacular showcase of the resources and the opportunity that's in the local market while bringing together the entire Florida ecosystem for the national and global spotlight. So
how many people come to this event?
6,000 at our last gathering, which was on Valentine's Day here in Tampa Bay.
Did you give hearts and chocolate?
We did, actually. We leaned in. Our entire theme was Florida loves innovators, because it's really about the people. Sometimes we think about these as companies, but, companies are run by people, and what animates each of us to get up every day and do our work and contribute to the society, the world that we live in, is really focused on the individuals, and that manifests itself through our companies. And that's true whether you are a startup. I agree with you from your previous podcast. There's no such thing as a solopreneur. Everybody has a community. But whether you're a small startup or a growth stage company or even part of a global team, this is really about what you as an individual are inspired and empowered to contribute. And that's really the magic of innovation, and that can happen at any level. So we bring those people together and create a fun, celebratory space where you can connect and discover and engage, and it's immersive and hands-on.
And when 3,000 people come together, there's a great exchange of information that goes on.
Yeah, and what's really special about hosting this in an environment like an arena, a hockey arena, or when we go to Orlando and we partner with the Orlando tech community and we host it at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, which is in downtown. It's a state-of-the-art, absolutely spectacular performing arts center. There are no walls. There are no barriers to learning and to networking and engagement. And you see this in these open air sessions where sometimes people get a little lost roaming around the arena, but because of that, they actually are able to find inspiration that they may not have been searching for.
Let's talk about the arena a little bit, the actual space. You're talking about walking around in an open air. If I'm about to walk into this Orlando event, Synapse Orlando, and I am I'm interested in some of the innovation. I don't have a company or anything, and I walk in the front door. What should I expect to see?
Oh, a lot of energy, a lot of diversity, a lot of hands-on experiences so that you can really bring innovation to life.
So there's booths of innovation.
Yeah, so we challenge our exhibitors to bring something more than, a pen that's branded and a little stress ball, but to really find a way to stop people in their tracks and help them understand what your business is. And even that pushes people to be innovative. And that sort of experience is really important. You'll see students, you'll see startups, you'll see global companies that are from every industry you can imagine, because Florida and our communities are not known for only one thing. We, again, have a really rich tapestry of innovation. So we want defense companies next to healthcare companies, next to resiliency, tech-focused companies. We want this amalgamation of creativity in one place. That's the magic that sparks a lot of inspiration.
That's true. Innovation and creativity in the same place and bringing it together is a very bold ideal that's very good for the community. It's good for everyone involved. It's good for all the companies involved. How, as a motivation, who are you sponsored by? I guess is what I'm getting to. Is you make money from exhibitors paying money? Are you sponsored by the local community? Is it local businesses? Is it the state? Because the goal of an event like that, I believe, is for innovation people to come together, make connections. By making connections, they make business. By making business, they create community and people working together, and that produces wealth, and the wealth makes the community better, and it grows. This is a very, noble cause, but who's pushing it?
Yeah. So like I said, we're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. So this is by and for and with the innovation community. So our sponsors are companies who have a presence or would like to have a greater presence in Florida, who have benefited from the resources here in our community and are thriving. The companies that want to give back and pay it forward. And those are cliches, and they are useful for a reason. We have talked about, since our founding, the reality that the rising tide really does lift all ships.
Yes.
And Synapse is an opportunity to kind of level the playing field. And through the sponsorships that people are generous enough to provide, we try to remove as many of the financial barriers as we can so that students and startups can have a chance to interact with enterprise companies and growth stage companies, and you have a chance to engage and again at a level playing field. That just doesn't happen.
You pull together larger sponsors to allow it so the smaller innovators can all play together and get something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what happens when you focus on the community first, so on our list of values, community first is number one, is that you listen to what all the levels of the community, all the players in the community are saying that they need. And then you try to move the mountains to make it possible. And
you move mountains. That's your job.
that's our job as a community. That's our responsibility, is to prove to the world and demonstrate, as our tagline goes, that innovation lives here. And it used to be kind of a question, or
not anymore.
It's not. Now it's a declarative statement. And
Yes.
I'd like to think that Synapse has been a big part of making it clear that innovation does live here. Innovators do live here. Innovators are moving here. They come to Synapse Summit. They come to Synapse Orlando. They engage with our community, and they see that there's opportunity and talent and resources. They can move their company here. They can invest in companies here. They can build a life here, and it will open up new opportunities. And so it's now a declarative statement. Innovation lives here. And now we get to showcase all of the incredible talent that's here through this movement, this community, this event. And it's a lot of fun. And very, very impactful. And I know you have your own Synapse success story from your time with us at Synapse Summit. And I think it's, the best examples are not the proof from me, but really the proof from the community that comes and has a success as a result of being a part of the Synapse movement.
Okay. So do you want me to
Would
give
you like
my
to
story?
share
I'd
that?
love to
Was that
right
a
now.
good? Was that a good cue?
So this is
you?
where the tables turn.
Ooh,
Now,
I
now
like
you're
that.
the host.
Usually I do get to be the interviewer, so tell me, James, what was your Synapse story?
So early in 2021.
Yes.
It was in February of 2021. I went to a Synapse. Was it 2021?
21, yeah.
No, it was 2022. I'm sorry. It was a year and a half ago.
Oh, right. We're
See
in
how-
2023.
Golly.
Oh, man.
In any case, in 2021, I moved my company down to Tampa from New York City because of the fruitful area and the Embark Studios and a variety of things that are done here that are really supportive for small business and launching a big enterprise. Shuffler is an enterprise presentation management company that services global companies, and the foundation to do that has been really supported here at Embark Collective. One of the events in Synapse is headquartered here at Embark. An event that happens at Amalie Arena right up the street here was Synapse 2022. I don't know what the actual name is.
Synapse Summit.
Synapse Summit.
That's right. 2022.
Innovation starts here. So I was at the summit, and we were doing Presentation Hell podcast. There were some of the first ones there, and I'm walking around and doing my usual stealth, shooting my mouth off, and creating havoc. See, she's laughing because she knows.
It's true.
And I was by the Florida Polytechnic University booth. There was a lot of students. They each had a program and stuff. And I'm speaking to this Matt Baum, who's head of the Capstone Projects. I'm saying, well, we've discussed this project. It's called Printer. It's about mapping the world's printers and making it easy to print. Just point your phone at the printer, and there's no reason why you shouldn't get approval to print. He's like, wow, that's a good idea. What have you done on that? I said, well, I've put some things together and put it in. He goes, why don't you follow up and tell me what's going on? So I followed up with him, and he said, write a couple-page presentation of what this opportunity is. So I wrote a small business plan, 6 pages, map the world's printers, write a spider to map the world's printers, and then bring them into a social media network and stuff. He posted it on the Capstone Project, and 4 students picked it up as their project. From there, it actually got built. They got their grades and passed. I didn't look if they got A's or B's exactly, but just 3 weeks ago, they had their final, and they brought the proof of concept where anyone could walk up, point their phone at the printer, hit the button, and pick an image off your phone, and it just prints right off, and the approval comes in. It's got design, it's got layout, it's very real. So now that we've gotten to that point, we're taking a next step with another company here in town, RevStar, to package the proof of concept into a real commercial product, which is, quite frankly, mapping the world's printers and allowing printing to be easy with everyone in the world. We're taking that step right now to bring it through. So and there's a couple stages, we'll look for funding and stuff after that. Those are stages thereafter. But to take it from beginning to end, I flew down to Tampa in 2020. I needed to print something at the Hyatt Hotel, and the business room had no way to print, but I could point my phone at the restaurant and get my menu, but I couldn't print something. And that frustrated me. And I was driving home and the whole printer thing came to mind. I kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And then one day I was talking to someone here who has another company here at Embark. And by the way, they're some of the most intelligent people here. You'll be blown away and dumbfounded speaking to people and you don't even know how or why. And you'll walk away a better person, a smarter person, a more in tune person. In any case, this person, his name was Chris. He listed out how paper delivery is critical for all corporate projects, and mapping that last mile that he's working on, the logging of that last mile saves deliveries for everything from FedEx to Staples to UPS and everything. And he said the paper companies are what's being used because a ream of paper goes to all different locations everywhere. And brought it up and we started talking about it. So from basically landing on an airplane in Tampa, getting the idea, thinking about it, having someone to bounce it off, going to Synapse, which brought together Florida Polytechnic, which then embraced it, which gave it a capstone project, which made it a student project in the community that now has a proof of concept that's now going to a commercial venture and probably has a much bigger life that you could ever imagine. That was created through innovation of Synapse, Tampa Bay, Embark Collective, and just the whole attitude that's in here. Printer with 2 R's, P-R-I-N-T-R-R.
There's so many beautiful layers of that story. You know, I tell people often we can create this space, but it's up to you to accept the invitation and show up full out and really engage, really be present. And that's true of so many things in life. It's a philosophy I try to live by, is making the table bigger, adding more chairs to the table. And then when when I have an opportunity to show up and really be present. But, I think the key lesson, I hope, is that when you have opportunities, whether it's to explore a new city or come to an event or be a part of a community, the Synapse community and a community like Embark, show up and really be present and really take advantage of the experience, the opportunity, because you just don't know.
That's right.
The doors you will open for you and for others, and you're going to solve such a small but a big frustration for so many people. The efficiencies and the creativities, the opportunity to engage these Florida Poly students and give them something to work on that will become, a very successful company. That's what it's all about. And bringing all of those participants in an innovation ecosystem under one roof, that's what Synapse does. That's what Synapse creates. And I'm so excited that it worked out with you and for you. And I think that it'll be very cool to see what happens with this in the coming years. But this is a really good example of why we do what we do, why companies participate, why people attend, and of course, what's possible when you create this type of intentional space. It's very cool.
So to use that analogy you just mentioned, do you know who Horatio Alger is?
Sure.
Okay, that's someone who volunteered at a company and became CEO. This episode of Presentation Hell is brought to you by Shuffler Presentation Management. And if you want to make presentations easier in your whole company, it's written in our book, Presentation Hell. Get it here, get it at Amazon. You will make presentations easier for your entire enterprise. Does Synapse have another name? It's Synapse Summit, and that's the events you have, but it's just Synapse?
Summit is the event. Synapse. Because of what a synapse is.
Which is a neuron in your brain telling you what to do. The space between it.
Between which the two neurons can create a bridge. And it's that special space, that sacred space. That's where innovation happens. That's where connectivity happens. We create space. So kudos to Wes Lehman, our marketing and branding guru, who came up with that name. But that's what we create. We create space for those meaningful connections.
So how did you work your way into this space? I understand you started as a volunteer, just eager to work and be a part of it, and literally earned your way on the team, earned your way into respect on the team, earned your way even further than that, to the point where just is it 3 weeks now? You're CEO?
Yeah, May 1st.
Yay!
Yeah, all
awesome.
right.
So tell us at the beginning, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What brought you to the point of that? Let's start before this.
Well, the most important thing for anybody who is from Philadelphia and a Philadelphia Phillies fan is that I share my birthday with the day the Phillies won the World Series. So the Phillies have a special place in my heart. I'll also tell those of you who are baseball fans how old I am, which I'm not shy about, but that's my origin story. So I grew up in Philly. And I realized at a later stage of my career that for me, it's always just really been about people and connecting people with concepts, ideas, and values that are bigger than any of us. Is that because it's a
city of brotherly love? Is that why you like people?
Sure, we'll go with that. It's just, but to me, I always liked listening to people and giving, be an active listener and helping them to see not anything I give them, but what's really in themselves, what animates them, what are their passions, and encouraging them to follow through with those. And through that, we build community around ideas that are bigger than any one person.
And that was in Philadelphia?
Well, that was part of what I realized, through growing up.
You recognized the power of that and what brings it together.
Yeah. And that ultimately I realized is what it means to build community. And so I was really fortunate through my career to be able to do that around causes and issues that were very and remain really important to me personally. And I built my career in Washington, D.C. I had a chance to work in Philadelphia.
You moved from Philadelphia. What did you do in D.C.? What was your job there? What did you do?
I was a lobbyist. Who
did you lobby for? Now you're going to open a can of worms. You know what's going to happen
here. I lobbied on behalf of bipartisan legislation.
Lobbying is inherently not bipartisan.
Actually, that's not true. Lobbying is education.
Okay.
So when you're a lobbyist, I never worked for corporations. I wasn't trying to sell concrete or, I was really working on behalf of communities and ideas, and they had to be bipartisan because these were concepts that impact a lot of different people and can't be partisan.
Did you ever have to represent someone that you didn't believe in?
No, I never worked in the political sphere. I never worked for a candidate. I never worked for a party. I worked on nonprofits, actually, that always were community and mission focused, so not partisan. A lot of times people think of lobbyists as being very focused on a particular client, and this was a different sort of an approach where I really got to educate people and work with Democrats and Republicans and acknowledge their unique biases, differences, but what came together, and most importantly, through all of the work I did in and around Washington, was even if we really did not agree on the solution, there's this conviction that we could make an impact in our world. We could make it better. My definition of better may be different from your definition of better, but there are not a lot of moments, I think, in your career where you get to stand back and say, we actually are trying to work really hard to make the world a better place. And that's not everybody, but there were enough people that I got to connect with that really believed that they were doing something to make society better. And that was an incredible quality to recognize and be a part of and celebrate with people.
Everyone goes to Washington under that pure heart. It only takes a couple years to tarnish it.
I survived almost really more than 10 years.
10 years. So describe lobbying, not lobbying as whole. Let's just say, and I'm going to give a thing. You said it's bipartisan. We're going to do trees. I want to cut them down and make paper out of it. You want to save the tree for more oxygen. You're lobbying to save the forest, to make forests bigger. I'm just trying to tell us about, or give an example of something you might have done. What client would come through and how would you represent it? Are there bills on the floor that you specifically want verbiage in? Are there people that you just want to sway their opinion? I come in and I've got $50,000 and I make paper. So I want this bill for the trees being done to be segregated to that. Is that the type of thing? Am I making crap up? Give me
you
something.
Are making crap up. That is for sure true. Yeah. So I was able to talk with people about big picture issues and helping them understand some global security challenges and help them to not in front of cameras. I mean, the most impactful work that any person does as an educator, and that's what we do as entrepreneurs and leaders, right? We're educators. We educate our teams, we educate our clients, we educate our communities. We teach them about are the areas of our expertise, and we help them understand how our ideas can help make what they're working on easier, better, more successful for our society. I mean, that's what presentation hell is all about, right? You're literally, in many ways doing the same sort of work. So when you're educating, it shouldn't be, in my opinion, about trying to sell in that sort of a way. You're educating people, and and when you're an honest educator, you say there are different perspectives. Here's mine, here's the other perspective, and here's where we differ.
But isn't there a basic issue at the base where someone is paying money for the lobbyist to educate to ensure it goes a certain direction?
Well, aren't people paying you for your work and your expertise?
Well, yeah, so that's exactly what it is. So it isn't bipartisan, because someone's paying for some sort of knowledge going out. Like, if I were to pay you to educate, the last thing I'd want you to do is educate it to the point where the law does not benefit me financially. Why would I pay you money?
Well, of course not. But part of the work that you do, I mean, look, there are lots of different issues in and around the political sphere, and and some are obviously highly partisan, but when you're focusing on, again, connection, community, and the things that are our common values, you have a different kind of conversation. It is not zero sum. It's win-win. And there's a lot that we can do. And I think societally, and again, this is what has drawn me to Synapse, is that when you focus on the win for you, the win for me, the win for the community, it's possible to create something that's better and bigger and more impactful. It does not always have to be zero sum. I win, you lose, you win, I lose. And that's different and really powerful. And when I realized that my career working in and around policy and education is all around those kind of three wins and building community, it was actually an easy translation into the world of Synapse and innovation, which I have no background in. I am not a technologist. I have never been in business before. I had to ask people to define what is VC and what is AI and ML, and I'm Googling and I'm trying to understand the language, because ultimately what I realized is that this is really around understanding what brings us together and our common commitment to make society a better place. So it's a win for all of us.
So the stacking up the wins that you've learned through your days at lobbying by aligning the interests that way are a foundation for the Synapse component right here, that you've aligned a bunch of win things in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. A lot of organizations, especially in the nonprofit world, will talk about collaboration and community. And sometimes they talk the talk and walk the walk, and sometimes less so. And we really focus on working in collaboration. So we hosted Synapse Summit here in Tampa Bay and invited partners in Orlando to attend and speak and showcase what's going on in Orlando. And they saw the community that came together and the energy and the diversity.
Give some stats. Like, how many speakers? You said 3,000 people.
The first one, there were 3,000 people who attended. The very first one, 3,300 people, 150 companies that came to exhibit. And I think at that one we had, I don't remember, maybe around 100 speakers. So it's grown from there. Now at the last Synapse Summit, there were about 6,000 people. 180 or so speakers from all over the state. We really focus on passing the mic to Florida talent and thought leadership.
This is a one-day event.
Yeah.
6,000 people coming through a one-day event.
One-day event. And from all over the world. They come from all over the country, all over the world. Again, Synapse Summit is kind of proof of life for tech and innovation in Florida and in Tampa Bay. You can't find all of this in one place except for
That's
here,
a good point.
Which is again, very, very animating for why we build this community. So we had this opportunity to meet with and invite and include our counterparts in Orlando. and passed them the mic. And they said, we think that what you've created is really special. Would you partner with us and bring it to Orlando? And Synapse Orlando was born. So that's really important, because the way that we build community is through collaborations and through partnerships, elevating the resources that exist.
Is that the same way you got to Miami as well, in a similar fashion?
So Miami is different. There are groups already that exist in Miami. They do great work in Miami, and so we are there to support. So we don't do a big Synapse event in Miami, but we show up for our partners. We support them. We share the work that they're doing with the broader community so that we can be a resource. And every community is different. We've built great partnerships across South Florida, across Gainesville, where the University of Florida is based, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Pensacola. There are pockets in all across the state where really talented people are doing very transformative work, and we amplify their achievements and their impact so that we can celebrate, discover, and engage with Florida innovators.
Are you going to be doing other events in other areas, like in Tallahassee or Jacksonville or things like? Is that? I guess
on the roadmap.
What's the future hold for Synapse? Where are we going?
Well, where we're going is where we're invited and asked to be a part of.
See how polite that is?
No, it's very true, because, and it's very authentic. Every community needs something different, and it's very presumptuous to say, oh, we have a one-size-fits-all. So we work with those stakeholders. We've got a community of regional ambassadors, people from all over the state who've raised their hand and said, we believe in the Synapse mission, and we want to be part of bringing people together in this unique sort of a way across industries, across technologies, across communities, and we partner with them to understand what's going on in their ecosystem and help to elevate their work and their impacts, so that when people think, I want to move to Florida, or I'm looking for a particular service, where do I go? How do I find them? They can come to Synapse, and we can put them in touch with the right people. Is there a website
that people can, what's the website to get to?
Synapsefl.com. We'll get you to all of these resources.
Sounds like a great foundation, and I am testament alone that things come together, and if you have the right direction and will, all the assets are there to make it work. All you need is idea and your ability to swing the bat. If you're willing to swing the bat, come here, you will be supported 300%.
Right. And that's really it. But we want to make it easier so that
easier to swing the bat.
Well, no, we want to make we want to make your batting average higher. You know, there's so many times that we rely on serendipity to go to the right event or go to the right pitch competition, or you're Googling and you can't find what you need. And Synapse is here to make it easier again for people to find what they need and share what they have and help Florida innovators thrive. We are that resource for the community.
That's a great summing up of what it is, and something that's special about here in Tampa. Thank you, Lauren, for coming in today. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been great having this time together, and I'm glad to have you as part of this ecosystem. Seriously,
we work together here at Embark, and so we see each other every day.
Bringing you here, coming in here from the Northeast and really integrating. And I think what's important for people who are considering coming to Florida, whether it's to Tampa Bay or another part of the Florida community, is we are uniquely unique. Each community really does have its own culture and its own authenticity. We're not trying to be anything or anybody else. And I think when folks come in here and they see that supportive community, that how we rally around each other, how we help each other in the tough days and cheer for each other on the best days, that's really special. And a lot of people have said to me, I've never felt so welcomed into a community. So if you're thinking about being a part of the Florida innovation community, if you want to connect with people who are here to support you and help you find the direction, please reach out to me. You can find me at synapsefl.com, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram now, all of the things. Find James and really just know that you're welcome. We welcome you here, and we hope that you'll be a part of Florida.
Handle for Synapse that they can directly contact?
Synapse FL and Synapse Florida, but I'm sure I can send that to you to put in your show notes.
That'll be great.
But you're welcome, because as we like to say, innovation lives here.
And that's true. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Presentation Hell, and if you take anything away from it, Florida's arms are open and welcoming to everyone that comes in and makes a great environment.
That's right.
Thank you, Lauren. It's been a great show.